If you know for sure that you will die one day, will you be able to stand firm, love wife and do what you want? Surely all of us have asked such questions, but it is difficult to do so, can find the answer. A girl who doesn't have much time left in this world, but is always optimistic and longs to live normally like everyone else. A lonely guy who runs away with everything, no friends, no friends. The joy of living completely alone is hard to believe when two people marriage seemed to be over. But they accidentally intersected on a plane of life. From people who only knew each other by name, now they are gradually become close and write together beautiful memories of youth. The male protagonist Tommy is a high school student who lives alone with dry boring personality, just like his books by chance. When he went to the hospital for a follow-up examination, he accidentally picked up a diary that recorded the thoughts and feelings of a patient with end-stage pancreatic cancer. Coincidentally, the owner of that diary was himself. Sakura, a pretty girl with short hair, is in the same class as Takumi. Even though they have been studying together for a long time, the two have not had many opportunities to talk to each other because they accidentally read a classmate's diary, which changed their relationship. They also started to become more open. Takumi promised Sakura to absolutely keep her secret and never reveal it to anyone. The female lead was also very happy and did not feel uncomfortable when her friend knew. Knowing the truth about himself is contrary to the common psychology of unfortunate cancer patient who come to Sakura, but she seems to love life and is optimistic by always having a smile on her face, which makes him happy. The bookworm at first thought that her friend was joking with her because how could anyone stay calm when she was carrying an incurable like that? The male lead thought that what she needed to do now was practice. Focus on treatment, not on the streets like this. But the female lead just wants to spend more time doing what she like because Takumi knows the secret, so Sakura really wants him to accompany her in her journey. The upcoming time, contrary to his friend Takumi's active personality, is a bit timid because he has never been close to anyone before and sees that Sakura is still a girl, which makes the male protagonist also water, a bit shy. But how could he refuse a request from someone who didn't have much time left in this world? With all his confidence, the male lead arrived at the appointment as scheduled, promise, and then eat together, talk about yourself, help the other person understand you better. Sakura felt very happy and grateful that Takumi kept her promise to spend time with her. She also didn't forget to take notes of the trip, today game and the diary the next day. As soon as the male protagonist entered, everyone in the class looked at him with judgmental eyes. Sakura's best friend, Juko, immediately approached to question her and suddenly became sharp in the eyes of his classmates. Takumi is inherently an eccentric and difficult person, so when they heard that he was close to Sakura, everyone in the class was of course inevitable. This makes Takumi quite uncomfortable and doesn't want to have anything to do with her classmate anymore. According to him, the female lead should tell her secret to her best friend instead of wasting time with her. However, Juko is a very kind person, sensitive, so if she were to know about Sakura's illness, she would definitely cry and that would be no fun. Maybe deep down Sakura always wants to forget his illness. Her evil is simply because she doesn't want to make them worry, because if they let people know, they will treat her very differently. Then the eyes of pity, worry and regret will come to her every day to apologize. Takumi knows her private secret because she also needs someone to confide in. Only he can make Sakura remaining day pass perfectly. Was surprised even though the guy had just become friends and went on a long trip until he got the train. When he found out about this trip, they would stay overnight together and then go on an overnight trip with their son, was one of the things that Sakura wanted to do before leaving this world. As soon as they arrived in the new land, the young couple immediately went to fill their hungry stomachs, then they went to the temple to pray for good health. This made Takumi feel quite surprised that Sakura spent all her good prayers on her family and friend instead of wishing for herself. Perhaps this lovely girl with a holy heart has completely accepted the fate that God has given her. The superiors had arranged it, and that night, Sakura used her savings to rent a room, a luxurious room for the two of them to rest and sit without knowing what to do. So the female lead invited her friend to play two truth-telling challenge. But she just found out that Takumi often observed her in class. Not only that, but Sakura was also carried to bed like a princess by her friend, something she always wanted to do since she asked. Between the young couple has gradually narrowed and Sakura even carefully entrusted her best friend to Takumi. He looks so strong but is so weak, so please help me keep an eye on Rue when I die. Although however, when the other person asked him if he was really afraid of death, why did he think Takumi didn't say no had showed confusion on his face. There were a lot of needles and tang medicine in her friend bag, but perhaps because she didn't dare to face reality, Takumi refused to answer the question of who isn't afraid of death, and Sakura, of course, didn't ruin the numb girl. Loving life is something overwhelmed by negative worries, but instead of despair, she is full of energy. Instead of crying and suffering, She chooses to smile and let everything go, now taking advantage of her parents being away. Sakura invited Takumi to come over to her house to have sex with her to fulfill the last wish she had left before she died. Hearing that, she sat motionless like a statue, her heart beating twice. Their eyes met and their emotions were about to overflow, but the other person said that he was just joking, ease the tension. But unfortunately the male lead thought that the other person had intentionally toyed with his emotions and directly knocked her down. You got down on the ground and then Hanbox left. Just after walking a few steps, Takumi accidentally encountered the guy. Sakura's ex-boyfriend saw suspicious signs, causing him to immediately approach and question the two of them, arguing for a while. Then something happened. Luckily, the female lead was there in time to stop it. If not, a murder would have happened. So it turns out that promiscuous boyfriend who hurt Sakura were not bad. Takumi saw him and witnessed him with his own eyes. Coming from his ex-girlfriend's house, it's hard to avoid jealousy. Today, the female lead didn't go to class because she had to go to the hospital for a routine checkup. So the male lead took advantage of it after class and immediately went to visit her friend. Also here, Takumi was advised by Sakura to open up to the people around him more so that they could understand his thought. Sakura was very grateful because during the past time, Takumi was by her side to fulfill her last wishes. In life, in the eyes of a bookworm, Sakura is the strongest and bravest girl he has ever met. Not only that, Sakura is also the image that Takumi wants to become, both recognized and loved by others and able to connect heart with anyone, to be able to feel I am living and existing today. While on the way back home, Takumi suddenly heard the news that a high school girl had been murdered. Unfortunately, the victim was poor and saintly Sakura. Why did a person who loved life like her have to suffer from that evil disease, and why did God so cruelly take her away before she could complete what she wanted? So the promise to watch the cherry blossoms together was forever unfulfilled. Their innocent friendship that had just begun to blossom had also withered away. They were extremely sad and had to struggle forever to be able to overcome this terrible time. That day, Sakura's mother suddenly gave me her daughter diary, and that was also her last will before passing away. Actually, from the beginning, there was no coincidence or coincidence. Here, the moment Sakura saw Takumi read her diary, she deliberately did not like. As for Sakura, this isolated bookworm guy has a strange attention that makes me very curious. Wanted to get close, but didn't have the last chance. Fate pushed the lonely heart ganglion to connect with each other. That was the choice that created fate. Takumi picked up and read the diary, and this choice led him to with Sakura, and she chose not to stop him from taking action, and the choice of two strangers led them to each other. After learning the truth, Takumi couldn't hold back his tears and cried. The time spent with Sakura was not much, but the memories and images of the saintly girl in the past helped the male protagonists grow up and open up his heart. Now he has bravely overcome his inferiority complex to become a teacher. Although there were difficult times when he wanted to quit this job, he remembered the encouragement from Sakura. The male lead still decided to stick with the profession until the end. After many years, learned the truth about Sakura's illness through the letter her best friend left for her. Even though Sakura is no longer in this wood, her beautiful memories will certainly still exist. Forever in the heart of those who love Sakura also means cherry blossoms. Although the lifespan of cherry blossoms is short, before they fade, it always makes people admire and cherish cherry blossoms, which is also symbolizes the tenacity to live. It can be used when a gentle wind blows, but can also be reborn and bloom beautiful.